ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवतां नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन क्रदितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ततामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी. The last para.
Three paras.
Three
Last three
paras.
paras.
Yes. Then there are others. Shall we start, Swamiji?
Yeah.
Then there are others. Then there are others who just make an offering because of religiosity or because they are compelled to do it. Because his father or mother asked him to do it, he does the ritual to oblige them. Or the opinion of society may be motivating him. What will they think if I do not do it? To get a good name or out of fear of condemnation, he makes his ritual offering. He is a non-believer, Nastika, who wants to pass as a believer, Astika, and therefore he may offer. Similarly, a person may give money but without Shraddha, or he may do some tapas, perhaps to gain some name, but not out of Shraddha. Similarly, any other karma, like singing in praise of or doing namaskara, may be done entirely without Shraddha, merely as a convention. All these actions are asat. They are incapable of producing any merit. They are as good as not done. Shankara says, such karmas are entirely outside the means of gaining Ishvara. Karma done properly helps you gain Antakarna Shuddhi, and with a prepared mind you can understand your identity with Ishvara. The gain of Ishvara is by this knowledge, and being knowledge, it depends upon Antakarna Shuddhi, which is accomplished by doing karma with a proper attitude. when there is no Shraddha, even though it is done, it is of no use. Therefore, what is important is Shraddha. In gaining knowledge, Shraddha is very important. As we have seen, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. The one who has Shraddha gains knowledge. Even though all these karmas imply a lot of effort, they do not become means for gaining a result after death, Pretya, going away from this life, because they do not produce punya. Even now in this life, they do not produce a result. You only lose whatever you offer. How do you know such karma is not useful in producing any result here? Result here or hereafter? Because it is censured by the sadhus. Sadhubihi ninditatvat. Sadhus are those people who know the Shastra. Those that are done without Shraddha are not considered to be proper rituals, and it is not considered efficacious by them. What is the karma that Arjuna is being urged to do here? To fight. Now we can look back to the second chapter where Krishna said, therefore prepare yourself for battle. Tato yuddhaya yujjasva. Gita 2.38. Because to fight such a battle is his own dharma, done with a proper attitude, it will bring Antakarana Shuddhi, and with that, knowledge of his essential identity with Ishvara is possible. Om
Yeah.
Tat Sat.
So what actually is, he asked the question, no? What he asked was, see, he says that what about karma? A person does not know it properly, but he does it with Shraddha. What happens to that? That's what he was asking in the beginning of the chapter. So Bhagavan has answered that the Shraddha is the important part of it. Of course, when you have the Shraddha, naturally you will learn how to do it properly. So, and if at all there is any unknown mistake, that is not taken into account. Only the Shraddha and doing it properly as per the Shraddha, that is what is the proper way of doing things. That's what she answered the questions. So, and even Bhashyakara also sums up very well. He says that Ashraddhaya, Tapas, Dhanam, even chanting, Namaskara, etc., Asaditi Uchyate, Mat Prapti, Sadhana, Bhakyatvad. He says it is all Bhakya Sadhana, even it's outside the scope of sadhana. You can't even call it sadhana. That sort of importance is given for the Shraddha. So, even though there is a lot of effort, as he rightly said, no ayasam api, plenty of karma without Shraddha will not help. Na iha, na uapi, na cha pretya. Matlab neither here nor in the future births. So that also they make it very clear. That is why there is a nyaya in chanting also. They say chanting can give you only drishta palam. And that is told in the Karma Kanda. Just imagine, Karma Kanda, Jaimini, supposed to be a adhikari for Karma Kanda, he himself says, without any this thing, that is the chanting properly done will give you Drishtapalam. Here, it is the chanting will never give you Adhishtapalam. Generally, they say no, the Palastruti, Dvikale Pade Nityam. Trikale, Pade, Nityam, and all that. He says it's all not correct. That's sort of a parasthiti and all. So chanting has to be done properly, and it will give immediate param in the sense you will have that mental satisfaction and sort of inner infrastructure where you get some what you call tranquility and all that. That will help you. So the Nyaya Sutra itself says. I got the Nyaya Sutra. I will just tell you what it is. 1 minute.
1 minute, Swami.
The Nyaya Sutra says, Pale drishte sati adrishta palam kalpana anyayaha. It says. So the Sutra says, chanting can give you only Drishtapalam. And Adrishtapalam, even Kalpana, even if you imagine some Adrishtapalam, even that is against the rules. So all chanting is only for Drishtapalam. Likewise, so the Shraddha will give you the proper infrastructure. Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam, that is, and even future palam without Shraddha, it's not possible because you have not done the Shraddha, and there can always be some blemish or other in the karma. So even if there is a problem in some samagri is not there and all in the karma, still if you have the Shraddha, that will compensate. But if you don't have Shraddha, even if you do the karma, that will not have neither palam here or thereafter, it says. So that much of importance is given to Shraddha. That is why he has devoted one full chapter for Shraddha. And especially in the as an answer to Arjuna's question. Okay, and then we will now move into the 18th chapter.
I have only one small question based on Shraddha. When we do some puja, if I am doing with Shraddha, that means I must have understood the meaning.
In the sense, Shraddha means that you would have taken efforts to whatever possible to understand the meaning and getting all the items together, whatever possible. Suppose something is not possible, the Shastra itself tells about what is the alternative. If this is not there, like Achadam Samarpyami, Swarnam, in place of Swarnam, you got Achadam and all that, it is all there. It's already there in the alternatives are already provided in the karma. So as long as you have the Shraddha, and as long as you have if you have the Shraddha, definitely you will try to understand the meaning, what is the purpose behind you doing this, what is your Sankalpa. The Sankalpa also will be Satya Sankalpa, like the sense as I have always been telling, in all our, if the karma has to become Karma Yoga, the Shraddha, the Sankalpa should be, let me do this properly so that I have the internal infrastructure, a peace of mind wherein I'll be able to understand the Shastra, whatever I'm studying and all that. So that will be the Sankalpa. And if at all there is a Sankalpa like, suppose there is an immediate problem. like I have some illness and all that. Let the illness may be Bhagavan, let him give me the capability to attend to it properly, endure it if at all there is any problem. All those things. Sort of what do you call? You cannot be the sankalpa itself will reveal what sort of a shraddha and what sort of an attitude you have. So if those things are all there in place, even if there is a bit of a, suppose even the meaning, suppose you don't understand it properly, somebody has told you, you have not understood properly, then that is okay. But as long as you have got the right attitude in your approach, you want to understand the meaning, but you have not yet got it correctly, you can always correct it later. But most important is the attitude and the sankalpa with which you approach karma, as far as making it into yoga. And as far as study is concerned, study is the purpose, then antakarana shuddhi is the sankalpa. That nobody can prevent. Antakarana shuddhi, and as you do it, you got the antakarana shuddhi. When you have the shraddha that I want to have a chitta naischalyam and antakarana shuddhi, so that I have the infrastructure to study well and all that, whatever shastra and all that, automatically all your sankalpa will become very efficacious. You will not be overreaching it. You will not be having avaricious kalpana about what I should have, what I should not have, and all that. So all those things will fall in place. That is what is the Shraddha talking about. So you don't have to really pinpoint into that, okay, well, I have not understood this meaning properly, whether my Shraddha is... No, Shraddha comes first. Whether you understand it or not, Shraddha comes first, then understanding will automatically happen if you have the right, right person to teach you and all that. So, but what is important is the Shraddha. That is what he is mentioning. That is what Arjuna's question also was. Suppose I didn't do it properly because of some... He says still Shraddha is important. You have the Shraddha, you got the right attitude, and what is your sankalpa, what purpose you are... What is the purpose of Arjuna now? He wants to have Shreyas. If that is the attitude, then automatically Shraddha will be there. That is what we have to look at. The whole thing. Must have the whole understanding of what is the meaning of the Shraddha. That is why so much of time he has spent Sat Shraddha and what is not to be, how your Shraddha should not be. That also he has mentioned how your Shraddha should be. And also Shraddha not only in Dhanam, Dharmam, Puja, everything, all those things. So all those things he has mentioned before also. Even in the last chapter also he mentioned. So so you must have a wholesome understanding of what is Shraddha. Then Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Nobody can stop you from learning if you have that sort of a Shraddha which is being talked about. So this Shraddha and all these qualifications, right from 12th chapter, 13th chapter, all this together forms part of your sadhana chatushtaya sampannam. Like even Upanishad talks about the qualification. Adhikaritvam for studying Shastra. In the sense, for you to study Shastra itself, these are all required. Samadhama, titiksha. In the sense, a balance of mind. Whatever be the situation in life, whatever you get into, you will not lose yourself. You will have a certain balance, certain middle path. You will have not go into extremes. You will not be overly joyed or indulgent or extremely depressed and all that for any difficult situations. You will be able to maintain a balance. For all that, these qualifications help. And Shraddha is the topmost. Even in Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannam, Shraddha is given topmost priority. Even after Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhama, Samadhana, Titiksha, Shraddha, and Dhyanam and Samadhi. Before Dhyanam and Samadhi, last but one qualification is Shraddha in the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannam. So that is why that Gita also gives the same priority. That is why it is just before completing the Shastra and summing up, he has mentioned Shraddha for one chapter, full chapter. So that is how you have to look at it in the overall context, where Shraddha, what Shraddha means. Shraddha means just not faith. It is a Shraddha means it is something, what do you call? You are very keen on understanding the whole life properly. In that line, it is Shraddha. It is not a faith. It's a Shraddha in the Shastra and the teacher and the teaching with pending understanding. I want to understand. Once the understanding is thorough, there is no need for a Shraddha. In the sense, thereafter you are Shraddha. Shraddhavan, you are already understood the whole thing. Shraddha, automatically whatever you do will be with Shraddha because you don't have any other agenda. Because you got understood life thoroughly. So anything you do will be in place properly. And to that extent, you know, of course, you may not know everything, change, the situations change, times change. So, but still, your approach will be to do it properly. So that will always be there once you have an overall understanding of life properly. So that is a sort of Shraddha. That is the difference between faith and Shraddha. Faith is just because I am told I am doing. Okay, I've got faith in God, so I do with all surrender and all that. That is only what you call. I won't say it is a very. It is. It is okay for a person who doesn't explore life, doesn't understand life, or it is not educated enough to approach it that way. It's purely out of some devotion he does that. That is called faith. Whereas Shraddha comes with a lot of understanding, lot of intelligence invested in your way of looking at things. So after having invested your intelligence, you want to have a total understanding of life. You want to study, understand, and you want to understand the oneness between you and Ishvara, and what is the reality of the Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, the wholesome understanding. With that, if that is the approach, and then for that understanding to be complete, you want to have that Shraddha. That Shraddha is being talked about here. So that is how we have to look at the whole thing. This is not a very easy statement to understand. Shraddha means you have to go through it again and again and see for ourselves whether we have the Shraddha in whatever we are doing. Right now, since even the chanting, I was just telling her, chanting also, it is only what you call, chanting as you do it here right now, it has got a drishtapulam. It is not that just because you do chanting twice or thrice every day you are doing, you will get 1008 times I have done Lalita Sahasranama, then I will get punya next birth. No. Actually, Shastra does not accept all that. The Karma Shastra itself, that is Karma Kanda people themselves, they say chanting has got only drishtapalam, no adrishtapalam.
Swamiji, can you repeat that Sanskrit for chanting?
Yeah, that sutra, that is Jaimini's Nyaya Sutra it is. Pale drishte sati adrishtapala kalpana anyayaha.
1 minute. Pale drishte
Sati. Sati meaning just since it is so. Sati means since it is so.
Okay.
Pale drishte sati adrishta pala kalpana anyayaha. It is Jaimini Nyaya Sutra. Jaimini quotes this Nyaya Sutra in Karma Kanda. So even there, Jaimini himself says that Jnana Kanda is much more relevant. In Jnana Kanda there is no what do you call. We are not looking for Adrishtapala at all. We are looking for only Drishtapala. That's what I was telling. No, Prayojanam alone we are looking for, not Pala. It's more so in Jnana Kanta, that is Gita and all. You have to understand. You have to understand Ishvara. You have to understand the chants. What is the meaning there? That is why we are doing extensively. Otherwise, 700 verses, so many people are doing Gita. Some people Gita homam they do, chanting and they homam. Actually, it is not meant for homam at all. It is not a karma which is going to benefit later and all. Some people are doing, but we cannot stop it because, okay, if they don't do, at least if they do that, it's okay. Instead of going and wasting their time, something they are doing. And Gita chanting, children we encourage so that they remember, so that when we take up a, suppose I say, Ajo Nitya Sashvatayam Puranaha, since she has already chanted, when I try to explain, at least she will remember the chant, then we can explain. So to that extent, chanting, memory and all are okay. But that is not a, what you call, it is no substitute for understanding, and it is not learning. It is only chanting is chanting. You learn the chanting, that's all. It's encouraging the early part of life, childhood, memory is good and all that. It's all fine. But not later. As you move in, you have to understand what it is all about. Every verse is wholesome in itself. Even 1 or 2 verses you understand thoroughly and follow it. Like what we have said, that karmanyeva adhikara hate mahapaleshu kadachana ma karmapala hetu bhuhu mate sangostu karmani. That is called Karma Yoga Sutra Vakya. If that one thing with Bhashyam and with proper understanding, you understand, your life becomes Karma Yoga. And that is what he says. Actually, the 18th chapter, now we are going to start. There, Bhashyakara says, 1 minute. So, so Swamiji has summed it up. Gita is Moksha Shastram, no other purpose intended by Bhagavan. Bhashyakara Sarvasya Vedartha, he says, like even the Upanishads. That is, it includes Vedartha, not only Vedanta, it includes Vedartha also. That's what Shankara says. Arjuna had Viveka, Vairagya and surrendered to the Guru and sought Shreyas, and Bhagavan taught him. In this chapter, it is found that, he says, Arjuna wants to know in this chapter what Tyaga is and what Sannyasa is. Nyasa is Nikshepaha, dropping, with San as a Purva, that is prefix. Sannyasa, Nyasa is the word, root, and San is the prefix. Sannyasa means Sarva Karma Nyasa, that is Sarva Karma Parityaga. And Sannyasa is called Paribrat, Parityajya Vrati. And also, he says, Karma Pala Tyaga is mentioned. Two things are there, Tyaga and Sannyasa. He says, Karma Pala, Krishna seems to be more in favor of Karma Pala Tyaga because the context of teaching Arjuna is to do what is appropriate to the given situation. So, he has to fight the war, but with the Tyaga, the sense you leave everything to the phenomenal, like what he has told, no? Nimitta matram bhava savyasachi. Just do whatever you need to do, everything else will be taken care of. So, karma palatyaga is emphasized as far as Arjuna in his current situation is concerned. So, that is equivalent to sannyasa. That is the 18th chapter, Bhagavan Shankara has started in the beginning itself. Let us see how the Swam study goes. We have got the 18th chapter book, we will complete this. Just
the Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishnajuna Samvade Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Sapta Dashodhyayaha.
Yes. So now we can go to the other book.
Swamiji, he has given that last, from this is clear that the Gita is not a pep talk to get Arjuna to get up and fight. அது நம்ம இதோட மீனிங் அது ஓம்
முன்னாடி that he has told even before, long back.
No, that last para. You turn the page. Om Brahman is the only reality, that he explains that Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam. Then there's one last para.
Yeah, okay, read it, yeah.
Om Brahman is the only reality. Thus ends the 17th chapter called Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga, having the topic of the description of the 3 types of Shraddha in the Bhagavad Gita, which is in the form of a dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, which is the essence of the Upanishads, whose subject matter is both the knowledge of Brahman and Yoga. From this is clear that the Gita is not a pep talk to get Arjuna to get up and fight. It is a Shastra which reveals the knowledge of Brahman, and it also deals with Karma Yoga, which includes all that is necessary for gaining the knowledge. In this regard, it talks about values, attitudes, and what is to be done and not to be done. In the 17th chapter of this dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, the topic is predominantly the threefold Shraddha.
Yeah.
Swamiji, just as we were talking about faith and Shraddha, I just thought I will share it with you. தெய்வத்தின் குரல் பெரிவா சொல்கிறா இல்லையா, அவரோட ஒரு போர்ஷன் வந்து அத்வைத்தத்தை பற்றி ஹி இஸ் டாக்கிங் இந்த 6th வால்யூம். அதில் வந்து அதில் வந்து ஹி டாக்ஸ் அபவுட் சாதன சதுஷ்டயம் அண்ட் ஹி சேஸ் த ஸ்ரத்தா வந்து ஆரம்பத்தில் ஹி டாக்ஸ் அபவுட் ஸ்ரத்தா. ஓகே, அண்ட் ஹி சேஸ் அந்த ஸ்ரத்தா வந்து இட் இஸ் லைக் நீ ஸ்கூலுக்கு போயிட்டு 2ஆம் கிளாஸ் 3ஆம் கிளாஸ் அந்த ப்ரைமரி ஸ்கூலில் வந்து நீ கற்றுக்கிற மேத்தமேட்டிக்ஸ் அரித்மெட்டிக்லாம் இருக்கும். பட் லேட்டரான் நீ வந்து ஹை ஸ்கூலுக்கு போயிட்டு ஹையர் செகண்டரி ஈவன் லேட்டர் இன் லைஃப் அந்த மேத்தமேட்டிக்ஸை வச்சுட்டு நீ வந்து இன்னும் பெருசாக படிப்ப அதை. ஆனால் உனக்கு வந்து இந்த நீ சின்ன வயசு நன்னா அதை படிச்சிருந்தியானா நீ அப்புறம் அங்கே போயிட்டு அந்த மேத்தமேட்டிக்ஸ் வந்து உனக்கு ஹெல்ப் பண்ணும். அப்போ நீ இன்னும் நன்னா அதை புரிஞ்சுட்டு நன்னா இது பண்ணுவேன். ஸோ ஸ்ரத்தா வந்து இனிஷியலி when you start off with sadhana sadhushyam, Shraddha should be there. But later on, and he even talks about the later Shraddha you were saying, yeah, he says, and the Shraddha vandi, it is higher level of Shraddha. This is lower level, like you have
so that is why
in school, that is higher level.
That is why the chanting and all youngsters are okay. Youngsters, we have to encourage them. But that you cannot carry on the same way. As you grow and move into the next phase of life, you must try to understand the meaning, tatparya behind whatever you have done earlier and all that. The same Pythagoras theorem, later in life you will have an application. There's only one line.
That's what he said. That's what he means. Yes.
So all those things, that is important. Like Shraddha at various levels is important. Here, that is why here the Shraddha in the context of Gita in the 17th chapter is a fully formed Shraddha, fully informed Shraddha.
That's
it's
what
not just Shraddha.
Later it becomes, and he also mentions that you said about faith and Shraddha. He says initially, he says Bhashikara said Astikyaha Shraddha, because faith only creates Shraddha. So faith தான் Shraddha இனிஷியலாக எல்லாம் அந்த ஃபெய்த் இருந்து ஸ்ரத்தையோட எல்லாம் பண்ணினானா லேட்டர் ஆன் வில் கோ டு த ஹையர் லெவல் ஆஃப் ஸ்ரத்தா. தென் ஸ்லோலி சொன்னேன் சமாதி தியானம்
சமாதி. That is very true. That is very true. Like only problem is what happens is we stay with the preliminary Shraddha only lifelong. Yes. We start with chanting, we end with chanting. That is what I was telling, like famous statement by Swamiji as well as Vivekananda. You can be born in a temple, but you should not die in a temple. You can be born in orthodoxy, but you should not die in orthodoxy. That is what Swamiji will say. Vivekananda told you can be born in a temple, but you should not die in a temple. And Puja Swamiji used to say, you can be born in an orthodoxy, but you should not die in orthodoxy. Okay. So orthodoxy helps. You are operating within a structure so that you don't get distracted in the early part of life. But later you must be able to open up and understand and look at எல்லாரையும் சமத்துவமா பார்த்து the orthodoxy எல்லாம் drop பண்ணிட்டு depending on situation what is required to be done you keep doing so that you open up you freedom. It is important. So Shraddha also is something like that. In the sense you start with a structure of chanting daily morning puja. Only if you do puja, only if you do sandhya, you will get coffee. That is fine. But you can't be all the time, even at 60 also, you do sandhya only to get coffee, means that's not correct. So you have to understand. You have to understand the each and every Upasthana mantram, what is the Arghya mantram, and what I was telling that Asaditya Brahma, Brahma Vahamasmi, Brahma Eva Satyam, all those things. You must get the full import of it. You must be able to live it. Once you are able to live it, then followed by Gayatri, Pranayama and all, that will be very highly efficacious. At that point in time, later in life, it becomes sort of your understanding of life, entire Sandhya and all that. So that is how we have to grow. We cannot be just doing it mechanically. It's very important that Krishna Arpanamastu, Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat we have
yes.
So and if you are able to understand that meaning and bring it, when you say Om Tat Sat, you will do it with greater Shraddha. So it's all, that is how it is. We have to grow into it. That is why they are so much emphasizing on all these things. Yeah.
Initially we are doing Om Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu, taking water and rachade and put it. So somebody has told, don't do that. Now,
definitely.
As we progress, we should understand why we are doing it, what is the meaning of that.
Sorry,
Like that, when we want to learn, we have to learn ourselves. Self-motivation.
Now, definitely.
In the normal college and school, normal school and college, they are driving you to go up and up. There is no driving force here except that our own mind and our own feelings.
Yes, definitely. It's self-inquiry. It is purely self-inquiry. It is. In the sense, that is why, as I was telling, it is jijnasa. It is not what you call It is jignasa meaning inquiry. It is not jnanam. It is not somebody, I tell this is jnanam and you take it and go. No. You have to.
Inquire.
Jignasa is, we can only, the Shastra can only guide you how you must inquire. And you have to inquire and find out what is the reality. And then it becomes yours. Then you don't need Shastra or Acharya. You understand life totally. So that is why self-inquiry, jignasa is important. The Guru and Acharya, Shastra will only guide you how you must approach life. All this sadhana, chatushtaya, sampanna, shraddha and all that, it only can only talk about it in glorious terms. But the shraddha you have to have. Ultimately, you have to have the shraddha. Shraddha is what you have, not what is told here. Told here is only to help you to understand, that's all. But finally, Shraddha is purely individual, completely. It's not, it is not what you call, it is not a collective community Shraddha and all that. It's all individual, purely. Ultimately, you have to understand it yourself. Then you will be able to understand the tatparyam of what that yoga talks about, what is the, what you call, reality of life, what is the reality of Jiva, reality of Jagat, reality of Ishvara. Once you understand that, then it is, then actually once you get to that level, it's child's play, because it is not asking you to empirically understand so many factors and all that. There is a beauty of this understanding. The beauty of understanding is, once you have once your adhikaritvam is complete, once your Shraddha is total, and you have what you call, you have put your inner infrastructure in such a way, there when the Shastra tells that you are the awareful being, desa kala vastu aparichinnam, you will be able to appreciate it. Yeah, it cannot be anything else. Correct? What Shastra tells, you will validate Shastra. The sense of Shastra validating you, you will say correct. Shastra what it tells is correct, because you have absorbed it totally in your system, in your life, and you will be able to appreciate. Yeah, correct. This cannot be truth. Cannot be anything different. When I say Desa Kala Vastu Aparichinnam is my reality, Ishvara cannot be anything different. It cannot be more than that, cannot be less than that. So it will be so easy to appreciate. So that part of it, because it is self-evident. That is why this, as I told in some of the articles, it is self-evident, self-revealing Ishvara Vachanam. We say revelation is Ishvara Vachanam. Revelation is what? You only can reveal yourself, nobody else. And it doesn't require any objectification or jnanam of external things and all that. Because all that is jnanam, objectified knowledge is negated in the sense it is only changing reality. The changeless is you. And that you is what? It is changeless because it is not time bound, it is not space bound, it is not even an object. So it's you. So in that there is no further learning required. You don't need calculus, or it's not rocket science. It is just being. That is what you will understand and remain. That is why the nididhyasanam, or the being, just being in yourself, is it's a given thing. It is so very natural for a person who understands. But to get there only, you must be able to see the what is not you. For seeing what is not you, you need all this infrastructure. Otherwise, because lifelong janmadi janmam, you have been indulging in what is not you. And you have been taking it as something real, positive, something actual. It is really there. But Shastra negates everything. For you to see that, that is where the metaphysical approach, then you abstract, you must be able to visualize something abstract. What is not, this is not that, this is not that, this is not that, so you must be able to appreciate. For that only you need the infrastructure, is calmness, a relative tranquility is needed. When there is a relative tranquility only, you will be able to appreciate tranquility is your essential nature. So yesterday there was a debate in YouTube also, in Mani Travis Shastri and all that, in IIT Bombay. There, the Professor Ramasubramanian, at the end of the talk, he was telling, the topic was how to free humanity from dukkam. So that was the topic, and you understanding Shastra. So okay, finally he said, see, everyone was telling how we have to desire, we have to be ambitious, we have to do a lot of things. How can we not have desires and be still be happy and all that? He says, at the end of it, we think that by fulfilling a desire, we become happy. Then, after a pass, we again desire for something, then become fulfill it, become happy. Then after a pass, fulfill a desire and become happy, like that. So we think that by fulfilling a desire, we are becoming happy. Actually, happy you are between the fulfilling of one desire and before the next desire starts. What is the gap in between? That is your reality. That is your happiness. It is always there with you. But you, since you don't, because it is not objectifiable, you don't identify with it, and you have been used to identifying yourself with your body and ego and all that is external. You think that happiness is the external. You desire for something, fulfill it. Desire for something, fulfill it. Desire for something, fulfill it. Keep on doing it, and it's endless. Whereas you lose your cognition of the happiness which you are all the time, which is your reality. So that is the final word from the Shastra after the 1 hour, 1.5 hours debate, that your reality is happiness. You have to own it up. You have to understand that. That is what the Shastra tells. Beautifully you summed it up. But for 1.5 hours, they were discussing very seriously Shastra, Dukkha Nivritti, what are all the things we have to do and all that. A lot of scholars were there and all that. The YouTube, it is there. Actually, I will pass it on to you. But it's totally in Sanskrit. Whole Sambhashana is in Sanskrit.
I see.
Little bit he explains in English that you can just see. I will send it to you. But what I am telling is, that is for that reason. Because for you to be happy, you don't have to do anything. You have to just be. So that the final understanding of your reality is not a big deal. But how to get there? You have to live a life of yoga, and you have to cut down a lot of things, and have a chitta antakarana shuddhi and chitta ekagrata, and have the shraddha in this teaching. And that Bhagavan says that na sato vidyate bhavaha na bhava vidyate sataha, and all those things, one verse in the second chapter, it all makes only one meaning. That is, as you are here and now, you are a Purna Purusha. So that is there. That is, when you have that understanding of the entire 18th chapter, going through again and again, you will be able to find that every verse of the 211 to 230, all the 20 verses which talks about your reality is Satyam. You will be able to absorb it and be happy. So that is what actually the whole Shastra is just 20 verses, Upadesha. But for understanding that, you need to have the Yoga, Buddhi, Shraddha and all that. That is being discussed in the 16 chapters. Now when he sums up also, he will be telling the same. Let us start.
Chapter
18th chapter.
18.
Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. Topic of freedom and renunciation. Introduction. This last chapter is a long chapter. Though nothing new is said, there are some additional information of the various topics already unfolded in the Gita Shastra. Therefore, introducing the 18th chapter, Shankara says, summing up the meaning of the whole Gita Shastra in this chapter, the meaning of the Vedas has to be told. Only for this purpose, this chapter is begun. The subject matter of the Vedas is the subject matter of the Gita Shastra, which is twofold, Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. Brahma Vidya is the understanding of the Mahavakya, Tat Tvam Asi, which reveals the identity of the Jiva.
Which reveals the identity of the Jiva, the individual, and Ishvara, the Lord. In other words, anything that deals with reality is Brahma Vidya, and Yoga Shastra is the means of preparing the individual for Brahma Vidya. Thus, yoga includes any karma that is in keeping with Dharma and done with a proper attitude, with devotion, bhakti. It also includes a life of renunciation, sannyasa. We have seen that there are twofold committed lifestyles mentioned for the pursuit of moksha. One is sannyasa, a life of renunciation. The other is a life of karma, activity. This life of activity, however, cannot be a means for moksha if it is not attended by a proper attitude. While everybody does karma, if it is to pave the way for moksha, it has to be done with the attitude of a karma yoga. This attitude, bhakti, and appreciation of Ishvara with a commitment to moksha has to be there not only for the karma yogi but also for the sannyasi. Even a person who is doing karma purely for a result would offer a prayer to the Lord asking for that result. He also has bhakti. Devotion is common to anyone who recognizes Ishvara, but then, if moksha is not the end in view, Ishvara is made into an accomplice for your ordinary exploits. If you want to gain some money or power, you ask God also to chip in a little bit. Though the prayer is directed towards Ishvara, Ishvara is not the aim of that prayer. In this situation, we understand that there is confusion with reference to Purushartha. Artha, security, and kama, pleasure, become so important that naturally you require Ishvara's help to accomplish them. About this type of devotion, Krishna had said, Mama vatmanu vartante manushyaha partha sarvasaha kankshanta karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devataha kshipram ki manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja, which we can paraphrase as, people are all following me alone, but they do not know it, and therefore they invoke other devatas to get some small results in this world. Thus, we have that is Gita 4th chapter 11 and 12. Thus, we have a devotee in distress, Artha, who whenever he is in trouble, Artha, who whenever he is in trouble raises his hands and says, "Oh Bhagavan, please help me, where are you?" Then there is a devotee, the Artharthi, who uses Ishvara's grace as a means for accomplishing what he wants. Between the cup and the lip, there are many slips, and he wants to make sure he has the Lord's grace so that there are no slips. There is nothing wrong with either of these, but then we have a third Bhakta who does not want something from Ishvara. He wants Ishvara. He is a mumukshu and therefore a karma yogi. He is not simply someone who wants to accomplish. He wants to be free, and for that he wants to know. What he wants to know is his identity with Ishvara, and therefore he is also a bhakta. For the same reason, the sannyasi also is a bhakta. There is no separate bhakti yoga. The sannyasi is absolved from the obligatory duties which the Vedas enjoin a person to perform when he takes the vow of a sannyasa. He completely frees himself from all obligatory duties in order to pursue knowledge to the exclusion of everything else. The karma yogi retains his obligatory duties but gives up all actions that are meant to produce some punya or something because of which he will be more secure. He has seen through all that and therefore does only the things that are to be done with proper attitude while pursuing knowledge. The sannyasi has
basically what he means is Nitya Naimitika Karma. What is essentially to be done karma. That is what Karma Yogi follows. Nitya Naimitika Karma, no Kamya Karma. In the sense, I want to accomplish this, I want to do this and all that. Kamya Karma, it cuts out. Indulgence in society cuts out. Just to be done karma. What is in my state, wherever I am, in a house or in an office, whatever I have to do, I have to do. That's it. My duties, what we call generally duties, which he has explained very thoroughly. So if we restrict ourselves to Nitya Naimitika Karma and duties, then you will have the time to pursue knowledge where you understand Ishvara and you have your oneness with Ishvara. So that will be, in the sense, even though he also wants to accomplish the ultimate. He doesn't want to accomplish small things like car and other things. He wants to accomplish the ultimate, but wherever he is just following his duty. So that there is no conflict inside. So Antakarana Shuddhi is there and he is able to pursue knowledge. So that is the Karma Yoga part. Yeah.
The sannyasi has no duties to perform, while the karma yogi has duties to perform. There is no third person called the bhakti yogi. If there is, does he do karma or not? If not, he becomes a sannyasi. If he does, he is a karma yogi. Whether it is a ritual, a puja, or even meditation, it is still an action, and the one who is doing it is a devotee, bhakta. The same actions that are done for the gain of security or pleasure can be done for Antakarana Suddhi. If they are done for the sake of getting small results, that is also karma, but it cannot be called yoga because the Purushartha is very limited. In any case, whether he is a karmi or a karma yogi, he is a bhakta. Only two types of commitment, nishtas, karma yoga and sannyasa, are pointed out in the Gita Shastra. Karma yoga includes the exact karma that you must do and the attitude with which you have to do it. Other disciplines like meditation, upasana, gaining a value structure including amanitwadi qualities, puja, etc., are all included in karma yoga. If you analyze all the 18 chapters, you will find that neither karma yoga nor sannyasa is predominantly emphasized over the other. Both occupy sufficient space in the Gita format to indicate that Gita Charya recognizes the importance of both as the means for moksha. Karma is also mentioned in the Karma Kanda of the Vedas in the form of injunctions to perform specific rituals like the Agnishtoma. A Brahmana should perform the Agnishtoma ritual Brahmanena Agnishtomena Ejeta. It is said, for what purpose? It can be for heaven, Swarga, or for Antakarana Shuddhi. Therefore, the Karma Kanda is not just for a person who wants limited ends, a kami. It can be meant even for a mumukshu, and therefore it is not completely dismissed as useless. But the karma done should be used as yoga. That is the emphasis.
Swamiji, that is why he says, even in the Karma Kanda, the Purva Bhaga, even though Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda bifurcation is there, Swamiji says even Karma Kanda is essentially meant for
Antakarana Shuddhi.
Antakarana Shuddhi and for Jnana only, for understanding life only. So, Karma Kanda never says you do it only for Kamya Karma. It says if you are interested in Swarga, you do this. But it also doesn't say, but by going to Swarga, you will attain moksha. It doesn't say that. If you want to attain Brahma, what do you call, what is that? That Brahma Loka, you can do this. If you want to do Swarga, you do this. If the thing is that it is always there is always a preamble. Like if you want this, if you want this, if you want this. It doesn't say, it doesn't mandate you do this karma, you do this karma. But all karma, if it is done as yoga, even the Purva Bhaga, the Karma Kanda, can also lead you to jnana, understanding of life, and moksha. So the entire, that is why he says the entire Veda is a pramana. It's all a question of how you look at it. If you look for small ends, you will get small ends, you will do that. But eventually you are not going to be satisfied with small ends. When you say small ends, automatically you understand. Your small end is only step by step, I want to get a big end. What is the big end? Big end is Ishvara only, complete. You want the complete understanding of life, complete understanding of Ishvara and your reality. So, if you earlier the better, earlier you understand that this is what you want, then you will do karma as yoga rather than just for small ends. Because you are being a miser, that is what he had told, no? Kripana. If you do it for small ends, you are a kripana, you are a miser. You are not using your faculties to the maximum possible effect. Using the maximum possible effect is looking for moksha. So that you are, that is why just as a discouraging factor, they said kripana, you are being a miser. You are not using your viveka to the maximum extent. So the Swamiji or Gita also says entire karma is meant for yoga and yoga is meant for jnana. Jnana is meant for moksha. So that is how the progression should be. So we don't have to say, no, I'm a karma kandi. No, it's all not. There is no karma kanda and jnana kanda bifurcation. Entire Veda is a pramana. That's what he's trying to say. Yeah.
Swamiji, actually, that Prashant and I were discussing about some time back. See, that 12th chapter, Bhakti Yoga, he says, you may say, my Bhakta Priyaha Vande, only all behavior. Nothing is doing puja or meditating. And he only talks about...
Yeah, it's all the question of understanding. That's why Ishvara understanding is, Ishvara worship is Ishvara understanding.
Yes.
It is not what you do, puja and all that, because there can be a lot of that is what there is a limitation will be there in terms of karma and all that. Whereas if your understanding is there, Ishvara understanding is the bhakti, then as long as you understand, as long as you are able to visualize the reality of Ishvara and yourself and all that, your karma will become automatically yoga, because you will be doing with lot of shraddha and all that. So the bhakti, and that's why he says bhakti and karma, there is not difference. Karma, if it is done as yoga, is bhakti. So, and bhakti without understanding only for arti bhakti and artharthi bhakti is only karma. It is not even bhakti. Because, okay, bhakti means you have got issue, you are taking Ishvara's help. That much alone is bhakti in that. You want Ishvara's help in accomplishing your ends. That is also called bhakti, because you are invoking Ishvara in the puja and all that. But it is not really, in the sense you are making Ishvara as your uncle. Okay, like your uncle has to help you, Ishvara has to help you. You don't really understand Ishvara, what it means. That is why he says Artha Bhakti, Arti Bhakti and Artharthi Bhakti also is there, but it's not real Bhakti. Real Bhakti starts with only with Karma Yoga and Jignasu, Mumukshu and Jnanam. So that is why Jnani Atmaiva Mematam. Ani is myself, Bhagavan says. Because that is the ultimate. Ishvara understanding oneness with Ishvara is the ultimate Bhakti. So that is why the Jnani is called ultimate Bhakta. And all, if a person really understands Bhakta, just totally loses himself in Ishvara and identification, then also he is also the ultimate Bhakta, because he doesn't exclude himself. By total Bhakti, he has surrendered and completely he has lost himself, his individuality, and just say only Ishvara is there. For that Mira and all those things are being quoted. So the ultimate is oneness. The oneness with Ishvara. Whether it is whatever be the marga, this is bhakti, or bhakti also is jnanam only, because finally it says at the end of it, Bhagavan will bless you with that understanding. You are one with me. That is what it is. But the thing is that it is, in the sense, understanding, the faculty of understanding is given to you. You cannot say, I will not understand and I will be a bhakta all the time with Ishvara and all that. Even that sort of a bhakti, that ananya bhakti, it comes with some intelligence. May not be, there is no intellection involved. There is definitely an intelligence involved that ultimately there is only one. There is only Ishvara alone is there. That sort of a thing also is there with all these big Nayanmars and Alvars and all we are talking about. Definitely they might have at that point in time, they must have understood there is only one reality, that is Ishvara. They might not have expressed in so many words and all that, like Shankara and all that, but they might have already have that in their vision. So the vision is important. The vision is intelligence. Oneness with Ishvara is intelligence. So finally it is Jnanam and Bhakti are one and the same at that level. So we are approaching it, the Gita itself, the very fact itself, Upadesa, it is approaching it through Jnanam, by understanding. So that is why we are discussing it. Yeah.
Actually, Swamiji, in these lines of sannyasa, the paragraph that we just read with different, saying everybody basically worships God, worships the Lord, Ishvara. Question is, Swamiji, Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Krishna as Jagat Guru. Krishna as Guru, Krishna as Sannyasa, Krishna as a normal human being. We see Krishna in all forms. But when it comes to, for example, in our Dayananda Saraswati, it says Swamiji, Swamini, Swamiji. There is no H Periyava, there is no Jagat Guru, there is no, as we say, reign of Jagat Gurus that were there. So what I understand is, you as Swamiji also do sannyasa and you are also doing normal karma. Like karma in the sense, sannyasa karma. Jagat Gurus also do sannyasa and karmas, but they are from the Maharaja, like for example, Sringeri is from Maharaja reign. So the question I have is, why is the difference in sannyasa itself as Swamiji, Swamini, Pujya Sri, Jagat Guru, like that? Why? What is the difference between Pujya Sri, Jagat Guru, Swamiji, Swamini? That kind of question comes.
Yeah. Actually, that actually has been defined. In the sense, Sadguru is Jagat Guru is there is only Sadguru and a person, a Guru, an Acharya who is able to explain the Sadeva Satyam, that Purnam Brahma Ahamasmi, that part of it, the Mahavakyas. He is only the whatever he can call by convention. The problem is we call by convention Sadguru. Nobody knows. We go by a parampara. Sadguru, somebody calls himself, and others they don't mind. And Jagat Guru is from the mutt. When all the mutts are there, they are Jagat Guru. They are called. There is only one Acharya who is a sannyasi, and the next person who comes into the Uttaradhikari, then he is called Jagat Guru, and they don't give sannyas to anyone else. Just the next in command or Uttaradhikari only gets this thing, and he gets ascends the throne, and he becomes Sadguru and Jagat Guru and all that. But that is all conventions. But in terms of definition, only a person who teaches Brahma Vidya and who is able to convey this understanding of Aham Brahma, all Mahavakyas, can be called Sadguru. Okay. And any Guru, in the sense, anyone who helps a person to learn something in a particular craft can be called a Guru. But he has to remove the ignorance about that particular subject. Then the Gukaro and the Karasya, Rukaro and Nivartakaha Guru, that meaning is there. So any darkness or any ignorance about any subject, a person who removes can be called Guru. But Sadguru meaning Sadeva Satyam, the reality of understanding of all the Mahavakyas. Only he can be called Sadguru. And Jagat Guru is nothing but Sat is, we have to see Ishvara, Jagat and Aham. All the three are one at that level of understanding. So Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara is one. So whether it can be a Sadguru or a Jagat Guru, he has to make the life's understanding complete. Understanding life complete through the Mahavakya Upadesa, Shastra, Acharya Upadesa is called Jagat Guru or Sadguru. Everyone else can be, people do call it Guru in terms of, as I explained, Gukaro Antakarasya, Rukaro Tannivartakaha is called Guru, just removing the ignorance of that particular subject. So this is the definition. Everything else is convention. You don't have to really go into it.
Okay. Because for me, for example, I am learning all of these subjects, and to understand, like as Bhagavad Gita, I am learning from you as Guru. But my family has Jagat Guru called Sringeri, and someone also is Jagat Guru there. But they are not, they may be contributing, like how our parents say is, okay, through their blessing, Swamiji is, giving this, is giving us all the education that is needed in order to understand ourselves. So sometimes what happens when we go to some normal forums and someone who in a common place, when they talk about confusions that Hindu religion has, it's kind of difficult to answer. So this came up in last week actually. Someone said, why so much confusion? Why can't you just have one Swamiji, one Jagat Guru, and go as Guru like that? So I just wanted to clarify, that's all.
Yeah, but this is a clarification. I think I have clarified what it is in terms of terms. We stick to it.
But I answered him. I answered him saying Krishna Mante Jagat Guru like that. I said Krishna as Guru, Krishna as Jagat Guru like that.
Actually, the Bhagavad Gita is actually Krishna is Gita Acharya is the real purpose behind the whole Mahabharata. Gita Acharya, Krishna's avatara is Gita Acharya. That's why it's called Purna Avatara. It is not Rama Avatara, is supposed to be Dharma Avatara. Whereas Krishna is called Purna Avatara because the complete understanding of life he gave as Gita Acharya. Apart from the roles he played, Krishna Leela was there, Radha Krishna was there, everything. But the main purpose of the whole avatara is Gita Acharya, so Guru, Upadesha, Gita Acharya, that is why Jagat Guru. So that way it is very holistic, and that is why Bhagavad Gita is popular in terms of understanding life. We will stick to it, but of course we have to respect everyone else. We can respect, we don't lose anything by respecting others. Somebody calls himself Jagat Guru, it's fine. Or Sadguru, it's fine. We can pray or obeisance, we don't lose anything. But we don't have to get into discussion. But in terms of understanding, these are the understandings. Yeah. Om.
We'll stop.
Should we close?
Yeah, we'll
We'll
close.
stop.
Yeah, we have to continue from birds by eye view of Arjuna's questions.
Yeah.
Thank you, Swamiji,
Yes,
for
yes.
clarifying. Thank you for clarifying my question before Arjuna's question.
Yeah, this question is always there. It's going to be more and more there. So that is why you have to be clear, understanding.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
हरि
श्री
ओम
नमः
श्री गुरुभ्यो
हरि
नमः
ओम्
हरि